Since the beginning of time, the greatest challenge of doctors has been finding cures for their patients afflicted with disease. So many modern medicines have been discovered searching through nature's treasure trove. From the oceans, to the desert, to the forests, the key ingredient in so many medications have come directly from nature. Having tapped these natural resources, scientists must then figure out ways of making them into useful medicines. So many wonder drugs have come from surprisingly common places, like the willow tree, which was the original source for aspirin, or the antibiotic penicillin, which was found growing in a common mold. Others have come from more rare and unusual places, like the powerful cancer drug Taxol, which was discovered in the bark of the endangered Pacific yew. Even the saliva of a Gila monster has yielded a revolutionary new treatment for diabetes. There's still a lot to be discovered. But one thing we know for sure is that when science is working together with nature, a cure for every disease must certainly exist. The challenge has always been finding them, because they lay hidden in some very unusual places.
Out here in the jungles of Brazil, thousands of plants, animals, and other creatures have already had an impact on modern medicine.
In the late 1950s, lurking in the banana plantations of southwestern Brazil was a very real, very deadly predator. Because of what was living in the brush, the prospect of being paralyzed or killed was simply part of the daily routine. The culprit was Bothrops jaraco, commonly known as the Brazilian pit viper. This is one of the most dangerous snakes in the world. Living in the trees, this deadly pit viper would terrorize local villagers. When this viper would sink its fangs into an unsuspecting victim, they would become paralyzed and lose consciousness. The effects of the venom on each of the villagers was the same. Anyone who was bit by the snake became unresponsive. But why they became unresponsive, that was the mystery. It was the Brazilian scientist Maurice Roca da Silva that first realized that the snake's venom paralyzed a victim through a dramatic drop in blood pressure. He was committed to researching it, but he was limited in his resources. So he gave a vial of the purified venom to his graduate student, Sergio Ferreira, who took it to England to Dr. John Vane. Even Vane needed deeper pockets and more cutting-edge technology, so he convinced management at Squibb Pharmaceuticals to take on this medical cure. But it's one thing to discover a potential medicine in nature and quite another to get it approved by the FDA and into the hands of patients. With Vane's oversight, a Squibb team of scientists, including doctors Ondetti and Cushman, went to work on a synthetic version of the substance that would be safe and effective in humans. But Squibb marketing directors believed that only a pill form would be financially successful. Despite their best efforts, scientists just couldn't make the protein small enough to work as a pill. Frustrated, they were forced to shelf the compound until 1978, when a brand new technology became available. Squibb biochemists used stereotactic X-ray crystallography to create 3D images of the protein. With these images, they were able to isolate the much smaller active component of the venom and finally make it into a pill. This revolutionary new approach yielded captopril, the first ACE inhibitor and a real medical cure. With captopril, a weakened heart beats stronger, and people can live better, fuller lives. Only through the unique partnership of science and nature could the bite of a venomous snake have ever led to a medicine that would help so many people. Mankind must realize that even with the most amazing technologies, scientists will always rely on nature's clues in their quest against disease. So many modern medications have come directly from nature's treasure trove. I was personally inspired by the amazing story of captopril. Growing up, my father was one of the actual researchers working on the project at Squibb. The idea that these scientists believe that snake venom may really be nature's clue to a life-changing medication, well, as a teenager, that seemed a little far-fetched. But after a while, it became obvious. Why wouldn't all the answers to scientists' questions be right in front of us, in the plants and animals that have evolved and adapted on this planet over millions of years? As a practicing internal medicine physician, I've prescribed dozens of medications which were originally derived from nature, and because of them, the quality of my patients' lives have been significantly improved. The series Cures for Mankind is meant to be a story in each episode, a story about an amazing medical cure discovered from nature, primitive culture, and folklore. Together, we'll travel the planet, and the raw sources will be exposed, as will the scientists that have developed them into these life-changing treatments.